Shawn Doyle has a passion for human potential, spending the last 24 years implementing training programs that help people become more effective at work and in their lives. Author of over 15 books, Shawn talks with us about his recent book, Jumpstart Your Motivation, 10 Jolts to Get Motivated and Stay Motivated. Shawn, your book on Jumpstart Your Motivation, that is getting motivation and keeping it, recently released as an audiobook that we produced for you, and it's received excellent endorsements and glowing reviews. Why do you think the subject of motivation is striking such a chord with your listeners and readers?
Well, Rich, I think that's a great question. The reason I wrote the book is I would go do live training events, and invariably I would always sneak a little motivation in, whether it's a leadership program or a sales program. I couldn't help myself. I would always sneak a little motivation in, and people would come over and say, wow, I'm all motivated now. I wasn't motivated before. Now I'm all fired up. I was in a rut, and now I'm not. And it got me to thinking that, how do we get people to get motivated, but perhaps more importantly, stay motivated? So I try to identify 10 key concepts, 10 jolts, 10 sparks, whatever you want to call it. But I want to try to identify 10 jolts to help people not just get motivated, because I think that's kind of a short-term strategy, but 10 jolts to stay motivated, that can be long-term practices. So I think that's what's resonating with people is, okay, you're giving me 10 techniques that I can start using tomorrow. And they're very practical and simple. And I think that's why it's resonating with people the way that it is.
You realize as you get into the meat of the book that this isn't just another self-help or positive thinking book. You outline those, as you say, those very specific jolts or foundational principles for getting motivated. Can you highlight some of those for us?
Sure. I think some of them, a lot of people are surprised by. One of them is the idea that the quality of your life is in direct correlation to the quality of the people that you associate with. So I do talk in the book about controlling your environment. I think if you're around negative, toxic, as I term, energy-sucking vampires, it's kind of hard to stay positive and stay motivated. But if you're around great, motivated, positive, upbeat people, you'll be upbeat as well. So I talk about that. And I also talk about the powerful technique of being a mentor and having a mentor, because I believe that I've had great mentors all my life. And if you can have a mentor, or if you can be a mentor, it's extremely motivating. So I think that's one of the things that kind of surprises people is the impact of how much other people can affect your life.
It seems to me that a lot of these principles are not talked about in business school. Am I wrong there? Or is that why you have become so popular as a motivating speaker?
No, I think that's one of the missing components. In fact, I recently saw an interview with Jack Welch, and he said, if business schools were teaching human interaction and communication skills and motivation and not algebraic profit and loss statements of, all this gobbledygook, that the human element is missing from business, and we need to do a lot more of that. So a lot of companies do bring me in literally to do a half day or a full day on Jumpstart Your Motivation, at a bank, for example, and you're like, that's pretty amazing that, bankers are interested in their folks getting and staying motivated, which is great.
There are a lot of books out today on living a purpose-driven life, and they're very, very popular because, again, that's another subject that's not covered in our formal education. Talk about how important purpose is to getting motivated and staying motivated.
I think it's critically important. Every day when I get up and I put on my size 9 shoes and I get out of bed, I know exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing, whether I'm in Madison, Wisconsin, speaking to a group of 20 people, or in Calgary, Canada, speaking to a group of 2,000. I know exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing, because my purpose is to have a positive impact on other people's lives. It might be through a book, it might be through an interview such as this one, it might be from a speech, it might be from a full day training, it might be from an audio, it might be from a video, but it really helps you get and stay motivated if you take the time to identify why you're doing what you're doing. And also it helps you identify the things you really shouldn't be doing and spending your time on because they don't really matter as much. So I think identifying your purpose is kind of like putting the kindling under the wood before you light a campfire. So you get that fire really going, because I find that people that know what their purpose is and are very clear and can articulate that are tremendously motivated, energetic people.
One of the comments that was made by a major university president not long ago, one of the biggest problems with freshmen coming into college is they don't know where they're going, don't know who they are. They don't seem to have a purpose.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a college course that even teaches it.
No, there's not. And in fact, my defining moment, in college was my senior year when I wanted to be an actor. I majored in theater performance. And I came to a realization at the end of my senior year that I did not want to act. And that was a real defining moment, but nobody helped me reach that conclusion. It was just a deep thinking on my own. And so I think there is a missing component at the educational level. We'll teach people about topics and how to do this and how to do that, but there's never really, in my opinion, any guidance about, you need to start thinking about what you want your life to be about and what your life stands for. And the way I define purpose is, why are you here on the planet? And that's a really deep question. But I find that a lot of people, even 50, 60 years old, still have not answered that question. Why are you here? What's your purpose?
As you go into companies and organizations, how do you find the training in the area of motivation making changes in people and leadership and even the dynamics of a company?
You know, one of the things I talk about a lot is having a passion for what you do. And I think when corporations unleash passion in employees, you know, build morale and develop their folks and, you know, spend time investing in them, what happens is, you know, sales increases, morale goes up, customer service interaction is better, customer service scores improve. You know, you call any company, any call center, and you either get the person's like, hello, may I help you? Thank you for calling. And they sound like they're nearly dead. Or you get that person in a call center is like, hi, how are you today? And you're like, wow, I want to deal with you. I want to buy your products. I want to continue working with you because you have energy and passion. So I always say that, you know, you have to have a passion for what you do. And if you don't, get out and go do something you do have a passion for, because, man, life is way too short to sit around and be miserable. And the other thing is you make everybody else miserable, and the company ends up losing money, time, effort, energy, employees. I mean, there's such a huge impact. I mean, when we look at champions of service like Amazon and Zappos, they talk a lot about passion and enjoying what and loving what you do. I talked to a really sweet woman one night at Amazon because I had lost my Kindle on a plane, and I was mourning the loss of my Kindle Fire. And she was mourning right along with me, and she was so passionate and so committed and so friendly and so personable. I literally, an hour later, Rich, went back on Amazon and ordered another Kindle Fire, not from a retailer, but directly from Amazon, solely because of her passion and her empathy on the phone.
As you talk to people, employees and companies, how is the subject of motivation received?
There are sometimes I meet people on planes or people in you know, live sessions who say, well, you know, all this motivation stuff, you know, just it's smoke and mirrors. It's just, you know, the soft and fuzzy. It really doesn't have any impact on the world at large. And I asked 3 questions, and my 3 questions are, if you want to have a best friend, you want a best friend who's motivated, energetic, and passionate or not? And they go, well, of course, I want a best friend who's motivated, energetic, and passionate. And I say, well, in your love life, do you want a partner who's energetic, passionate, motivated? Well, absolutely. Well, how about an employee of your company? Do you want? Oh, absolutely. So really in all 3 areas, you know, whether it's friendship, love, or work, everybody says we want that person. So I really believe when we look at all the statistics and information out there and research, that people who are passionate and motivated and energetic, you win in every area of your life, whether it's in love, whether it's in your social life, whether it's financially, whether it's at work in your career, because people want to be around people like that. People that are positive and upbeat become magnets, and they attract people to them. I have people call me all the time with opportunities, and they find me different ways, but they want to be around somebody who's positive and upbeat and energetic and has good things to say.
Have you gotten feedback from people after being in your training sessions or reading the book? Any stories you can share without necessarily having to reveal identities?
Yeah, I'm very pleased because, you know, almost every week, Rich, I'm very humbled that I do get an email or a phone call from someone saying, you don't know me. I got one about a month ago from a woman. She said, I'm a mom. I have 7 children. I work. My husband works. I've been reading your book on the train every morning. And I hope God blesses you. You know, she was just on and on and on and on and on because you've truly made a big difference in my life. And, you know, whenever anybody emails me like that, I always make sure to write them back and thank them humbly from the bottom of my heart for letting me know that I made a difference in their life. Because I guess if I get one email, there's probably, you know, 100 other people that didn't have time to email me and say this changed my life. But it's so gratifying because I think the action plan at the end of each section allows people to not just read it, but actually do something with it and take action that's specific and tangible. I get letters and cards and emails and phone calls literally almost every week saying that this book is having a big impact on their life, and I'm so pleased with that because it's serving my purpose.
Jumpstart Your Motivation by Shawn Doyle is now available at Audible, Amazon, and iTunes.